Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime here on the Joy News channel. Coming up, NDC MPs tear into Vice President Bawumia's speech, describing it as a dishonest attempt to whitewash himself from the mess of the current government.
Vice President indeed is the chairman of the economic management team, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, the second in command in the Kufuor's administration, and also the leader of the MPP. He has whatever it takes to bring the bill to Parliament if you so desire.
But Majority Chief Frank Anodonpre jumps to the defense of Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia.
Also confirm and believe in him that given the mandate, he will be able to lead our country to where we are all desirous of seeing.
Also, controversial anti-gay bill only a step away from passage as Parliament concludes consideration stage.
So all the amendment that has been carried will be incorporated into the bill to be brought to the House for all of us to see before we consider the third reading.
Meanwhile, Deputy Majority Leader Afenyo Markin continues his spirited fight to remove all custodial sentences from the controversial anti-gay bill, warning it will not achieve the desired effect.
Do we want to do? To reform or to destroy? To give an opportunity for such a person to come back with a new character. Mr. Speaker, if that is so, then we should look at the conditions of our prison.
Chief Whip Frank Anodonpre claims Vice President Bawumia is dishonest and has no real vision of his own, cannot be sustained. Following the Vice President's address to the nation yesterday, NDC MPs have described Dr. Bawumia as a dishonest person trying to run away from the record of the current government. We'll hear from Frank Anodonpre shortly. First, listen to Minority Leader Dr. Keisarato Forson take on Vice President Bawumia for claiming he will abolish some taxes imposed by the government he's part of.
It should be noted that our Vice President currently has the powers to remove any tax if he so wishes. This is obviously for a simple reason that, one, our Vice President is the chairman of the economic management team. He chairs the deliberations of all economic policies at his office. Aside that, he is also a member of President Kufuor's cabinet. In fact, he is the second in command of President Kufuor's cabinet. He chairs some of the cabinet meetings in the absence of the president. And in fact, in certain days that they are discussing issues relating to the economy, he more or less co-chairs with the president. So all of these economic policies that President Kufuor has implemented since 2017 were actually supervised by our Vice President. And it should be noted, his position has further been strengthened because he's now the leader of the NPP, the governing NPP, in fact, the governing party of the Republic of Ghana. He's their flag bearer and the leader of the party. So if he means well, he has whatever it takes to bring a bill to Parliament to get these taxes removed now. What we are asking him to do is simple. The NDC currently opposes all these taxes he has talked about. In fact, we have opposed it here in Parliament. We've opposed it in public. Our flag bearer, His Excellency President Mahama, has made public pronouncement that when given the power, will remove it. He's only copying him. Aside copying him, I want to urge him that, and urge the people of Ghana, the only reason why these taxes are still effective is because the NDC is not in office. So now that MPP is in the office, and the Vice President indeed is the chairman of the economic management team, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, the second in command in the Kufuor's administration, and also the leader of the MPP, he has whatever it takes to bring the bill to Parliament, if you so desire. And let me add this. These bills were first presented to this House when he was sitting here. He came to Parliament with the minister responsible for finance to impose the e-levy. He can't turn around to come back and to tell all of us that he's not part of it. But let me add that the General Secretary of MPP sits in cabinet. He left cabinet and informed the people of Ghana that the Vice President approved the e-levy and voted for the e-levy. The minister responsible for information, my brother Kodu Oponkroma, is a member of cabinet. He says that the bill was prepared by the Vice President. So for him to prepare one bill, ask Parliament, whip all their members of Parliament to vote for and to turn around to say that they should remove the tax is very disgraceful and shameful. In fact, I want to add that this shows the kind of credibility he has. He has no credibility.
Tamale North MP Al-Hassan Soyeni explained that the Vice President cannot claim credit from the positives of this government and run away from the negatives.
Well, I think that it is ridiculous listening to His Excellency the Vice President approbate and reprobate. Here is a man who claims credit for some of the things that look right in the administration that he is part of, and shamelessly runs away from some of the obvious failures of this administration. When we were told from day one and in between that he is an integral part of the policy decisions of this government, and not once has he ever denied those claims, either made by the senior minister, made by the information minister, or made by the party general secretary. Not once has he ever denied the claims that he's an integral part of the policy decisions of this government. And so for him to shamelessly come out at this time to project himself as one who is not to be held responsible for some of the failures of this government, but one deserving of credit for some of the things that are, seemingly positive of this government, can only be a mark of, excuse my language, a dishonest person. I mean, I think that it is shameful. It takes politics to a new low. I mean, how on earth do you, a candidate on a party ticket, present what seems like your personal manifesto? We do not know the NPP's manifesto yet. In fact, when I was listening to him for a moment, I thought he was the one who formed the butterfly movement. Because clearly, I mean, it beats one's imagination that he sounds like he is an embodiment of the NPP. Because clearly, the NPP, I'm sure, will have a manifesto for the 2024 general elections. Or that is what he was outdooring as his own personal manifesto. And in doing so, interestingly, he is seen contradicting the NPP's government policies. So it's like my personal manifesto contradicts the government policies. I dare say that if we are not careful, even the NPP's manifesto will contradict his personal policies. So perhaps, maybe Alan should have been on that NPP ticket. After all, he's a party man. And maybe he should have been, with the butterfly trying to, bring about the emergence of a third force. I think that Dr. Bawumia is clearly confused. He's lost directions, he's lost focus. The deception is no longer working. And I think that this new trick is just what it is, a trick.
Now, the NDC MP for Tamale Central then took on the Vice President for alluding that he was only a driver's mate and needed to be given the chance to take the wheels.
First and foremost, the president told everybody in this country that he was a novice as far as economy is concerned, and said that he appointed Dr. Bawumia as his running mate because he is a mogul when it comes to the economy. So the president himself made that declaration. So the only reason why Dr. Bawumia was made the running mate and subsequently became the vice president was to manage the economy. I guess you are aware the president made that statement. Two, the vice president also never denied the claim that he was the one leading the economic management team. And you remember when he had the town hall meeting where he declared that the economic management team was the best this country could ever have. And declared, he said the economy, the team. So Dr. Bawumia cannot be seeking to insulate himself from the mess that is created. The fact that Dr. Bawumia is distancing himself from the management of the economy is an admission that Dr. Bawumia, President Akufo-Addo's government has failed. Because why? One would expect him to be saying that this is what we have done, this has been our achievement. So the fact that he's trying to distance himself is telling everybody that we are admitting that we have failed. Now again, the analogy of a driver mate, for me, is the most insulting of all. Now, if you are a driver mate and you are seated in a car that is being driven by a reckless and irresponsible driver, and that driver has put on the reverse gear, and you, the driver mate, you've realized that there are children seated behind the car, and you say, Massa, there are children behind the car, and the driver refuses. Haven't told the driver clear, he refuses and step on the children, and you refuse to leave that driver. You cease to be, you are only not an accomplice, but an active participant. So he had the choice to have left that government. Because if he's now telling us that my advices were not heeded to, everything I said were not heeded to. Now again, the vice president also made a statement for me that was telling, when he said that managing the finances and the economy was done by the Minister for Finance, and that his focus was on the IT. There is a minister responsible for IT. So the vice president, who knows that his responsibilities are clearly dictated by the Constitution. It means that he reneged his responsibility and he took up a responsibility which was completely not his. So such a person, when you give him the mandate, it is very clear he's going to behave worse.
We can now hear from Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompreh, who jumped to the vice president's defense, insisting Dr. Bawumia is fit for the job.
We also confirm and believe in him that given the mandate, he will be able to lead our country to where we are all desirous of seeing. So for me, it was important. Impressive. Yeah, that is his view. That is his view, and he explained. He explained that he's what do you call it? A mate on a trotro driven by a competent driver. Given the mandate, he himself would do something different. Yes, for me, it's insignificant, and many people will not be able to do that. Many people will not be able to do that, to look into your boss's face and tell him that I'm going to be different, I will do this differently. That's a mark of boldness.
Isn't it early days yet for him to scrap off these things that he intends to roll?
Well, I don't know what you call early days, but the man is seeking to lead a country. And once you are seeking to lead the country, you are also expected to speak to some challenges and some issues that is bothering us. And for me, there's no question mark about being early days yet. He's setting the tone. Somebody is moving around the country campaigning, and you want him to sit down.
Meanwhile, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, says no member of the ruling NPP government can be exonerated from Ghana's present economic challenges. According to him, decisions taken collectively by cabinet has landed the country in the current situation. Already, the NDC flag bearer is sensing a deliberate attempt of the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia campaign to shy away from the role of the vice president in the management of the economy. Mr. Mahama says claims of some government officials that their opinions were not taken should not be entertained. The NDC flag bearer was speaking at a town hall meeting at Tamale as part of his Building Ghana tour.
Now all those who contributed to the mess are trying to run away as if they were not part of it. People have begun saying, oh, they were not in charge, they were not listening to them and all that. All of them, they inside. Jack Toronto and all his small brothers, all of them are part of the mess that we're going through. None of them can escape responsibility, none of them. Because they've all been a part of this. They all sat in cabinet together. They all took those decisions together. Anytime they were going to borrow from the Eurobond market, they approved it in cabinet. They sat in cabinet and approved it. In 6 years, you went and borrowed $13.5 billion, and you did nothing with it. So today you can't come and tell us you are not part of it. All of them are part of the mess in which we find ourselves. And Ghanaians are going to send them packing for the hardship that they've inflicted on us, for the debt that they've swallowed us in, and they must go home and go and learn their lesson. NDC is coming back, winning this election, and we have the men and women that are going to restore this country's economy and finances back to a healthy condition.
Mr. Mahama has assured the NDC will ensure the economy's turnaround if successful in the elections.
You inherited an economy that was doing well. It is you, by your mismanagement, your clueless finance minister, and your clueless head of economic management team, who now wants to run away from economic issues to become the champion of digitalization. It is they who have created this mess. And you cannot run away from what you've done. Today they tell us the economy is turning the corner. It is not turning any corner. The IMF has come to say that Ghana's debt is still unsustainable and it's in a distressed situation. The good thing our people have, our friends in the MPP, is they know how to talk. They are very glib talkers. They are good at sowing propaganda. And they believe that at any time they can talk and convince the people of Ghana. But we are the wiser now. All the things they did, the promises they made, they have not kept one of them. How many people's districts have a factory? After the one district, one factory promise. How many districts here have a factory? Even the ones that have, there's nothing there. Those in Waliwali district, there's a factory there, watermelon. There's no equipment in the factory.
To other stories now, the controversial anti-LGBTQ bill is only one step away from passage after Parliament concluded the consideration stage. The stage entails the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, and MPs are allowed to purpose or propose amendment. On Thursday, the second stage was done with only the third reading left for the bill to be passed into law. There is more in the following report.
What is left now is the third reading, and the third reading does not entail anything. There just has to be a vote in the House for the third reading to happen, and once that happened, this bill would have been passed. Of course, early on in the morning, some concerns were raised by Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who is railing against the custodial sentence imposed in the bill.
What do we want to do? To reform or to destroy? To give an opportunity for such a person to come back with a new character. Mr. Speaker, if that is so, then we should look at the conditions of our prisons. I dare say that should a person go to the prison, he would come back worse off. Mr. Speaker, in active practice, some 10 years back, a client was supposed to be in lawful custody. In the evening, the police officer told me that, Counsel, if we send your client to Accra, the Central Police Station, Mr. Speaker, for want of a better word, let me say it in Twi.
The minority will not have anything of that sort. They will not accept that. Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak and Sam George, who are minority MPs, raised their opposition to that.
But to say that I should remove incarceration completely, Mr. Speaker, we'll be making mockery of ourselves. So I just want to plead that if our colleagues, especially the majority there, has worried with a number of years, you can suggest something lower.
The agenda, the punitive measure for that is minimum 3 years, maximum 5 years. That is targeting our children in secondary schools. The setting up of clubs in secondary schools, in neighborhoods. That is the real danger to our society. And that's why that punishment is even higher. So, Mr. Speaker, we stand by the minimum 3 years, maximum 5 years. Thank you.
Chairman of the Constitutional, Parliamentary and Legal Affairs Committee, Kwame Anyumedu-Antwi, backed the position of Alexander Afenyo-Markin. Well, despite all these concerns, the various amendments tabled have all now been voted on, and Parliament has moved on from the consideration stage.
So all the amendment that has been carried will be incorporated into the bill to be brought to the House for all of us to see before we consider the third reading. On that note, we bring consideration to a cruise.
there is the likelihood of what is called in Parliament a second consideration where a few issues will be ironed out, but largely the consideration stage of the House is now complete and a vote is set to happen within this week or next week, and then this bill will finally be passed. Some judges and sponsors of the bill are excited about this progress but do not want to go ahead of themselves.
It's not work done yet. We still have a long way to go. We have made some strides, but we are no way done. Like you heard in the House, we are supposed to go and do winnowing. So we're going to wait for the drafters to finish the winnowing. It will come to the committee chair, and then the committee will discuss it, and then the sponsors would also engage with them. But at least we've made some step and some progress, and we're excited about it. As and when we are done with the processes, we will continue with the processes on the floor of the House. We'll let you know. But we just want to say thank you for the publicity and support and mileage you've given to us all through this matter. We are very grateful, and we hope that we can count on you till we complete the process as our partners in ensuring the protection of Ghanaian family values and proper human sexual rights.
There is also the constitutional issue as whether or not this being a private member's bill and imposing a charge on the consolidated fund, President Akufo-Addo will sign it into law when it is passed. But the minority and some MPs already say that if the president refuses to sign this bill, they will not allow that, they will veto the president. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
And in the studio, I am Samuel Kojo Brace. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. To stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, commercial drivers have been urged to join the February 13 demonstration by organized labor over the now suspended 15% VAT on electricity consumption. Though government has suspended the implementation of the electricity tax, the union insists it will still protest. Chairperson for Greater Accra Organized Labor, Patrick Benjamin, says government has not formally informed organized labor about the suspension of the proposed VAT on electricity consumption.
Not only about workers, it's even about we. And whatever you buy as electricity, you pay a 15% VAT on it. And this has repercussions on our artisans, our tradesmen, and it's going to affect all of us. Our affiliates from the GPRTU across Greater Accra are not going to work. They are all going to join So let us take note that on 13th, within the Greater, no commercial vehicle within Accra will work. The drivers, all of them are going to join the demonstration. And we are going to register our displeasure that it is not about suspension, but it is about total withdrawal.
Now, indicating their support for demonstration, Public Relations Officer of JPRTU, Abbas Ibrahim Moro, said Tuesday the 13th is just the beginning as they plan to organize a bigger protest over the emission levy.
We are part of them. TUC the government and try and sign up to the end of on the 12th, on the 13th. No, we are all joining. And this is the first step. Yeah, far away so I can share driver ne be one class on the 13th. Yeah, Juma because he can organize labor. No, be a cutting razor. Amaya Shenka for no because Yansu you are fighting for the eco tax. No, and the way be a cutting razor. Na nim yasan the rare demonstration for your eco tax no so emission tax no and the way by 13th no by cutting razor.
Now, some 144 Ghanaians are returning today from Libya. These set of returnees are adding to a group of over 4,770 Ghanaians who have been assisted by the Migrant Protection, Return and Reintegration Program for Sub-Saharan Africa, spearheaded by the International Organization for Migration, Ghana. Libya and Niger and other parts of the Sahel are notable routes where desperate migrants make their perilous journeys into Europe. However, through its new voluntary humanitarian return assistance program, the International Organization for Migration is seeking to reintegrate the migrant back into the Ghanaian society. My colleague Blaise Soga is speaking to the IOM Ghana Mission Chief, Ms. Fatou Diallo Ndiaye.
That they received from IOM. But let's get back a bit on this, the activities, the today's activities, which is for a charter flight that will brought us here in Ghana, in Accra, 143 migrants. Among them, we have 21 medical cases because it happened sometime, and we have also 9 children, and which is also which is putting us in this very critical situation when we have to address the unaccompanied minors, what we call the unaccompanied minors migrants. So today we are here for welcoming them as we used to do since I told you since the beginning of the program, which is founded by the European Union, and also because of this return and reintegration, safe return and voluntary return is one of their key priorities, like the African Union priorities. Also for the irregular migration, how do we address the irregular migration issues? So with in close collaboration with the NADMO services, our partners, the health port from the Ministry of Health, and also GIS, the immigration part, and many other partners and stakeholders, so civil societies, and so we always put together our efforts to see how we can better organize their return from the airport, doing the profiling when they arrive, providing the first needed support, which is providing food, pocket money, and welcoming them. And also, for example, today here we are here with our partners from the Ministry of Youth and Sport, because 80% of our beneficiaries are youth, are young, very young Ghanaians. So it is quite important that the states also who's delivering also the travel documents, otherwise they cannot come back.
Right. And that's an instructive point to note, because the President of the Republic has equally raised concerns about how we've seen, the youthful population of the country always trying as much as possible to move over into Europe, but they're not doing that through the right means. I'm looking at the data, and for instance, it's pointing out that some 20,000 people die, as a result of crossing the Mediterranean. What do you think is accounting for this challenge, and how do we reverse this trend?
Let me tell you first something that people often forget, that migration is very linked to the development. So it is a key topic for the SDG, the 23rd agenda. It is also a key topic for the Global Compact for Migration. And it is a key topic for many other programmatic documents. So it is a priority in terms of development, because it's a kind of lack of proper solutions for the youth. That's why they are leaving. So you talked about something very important, which is data.
Right.
It's all about how do we manage the data collection following the migrants, the trends, the dynamic, the changes, because we need those reliable data to address the issue of irregular migration. But the issue, the other aspect, which is very positive of migration, related to the diaspora, also related to the regular pathway of the migration, and also the contribution of the migrants, and then also the diaspora in the country of origin, in those countries of destination, and also in the country of transit often. when where they sometimes they are stranded, but they need to they struggle a lot to take the decision of return, following the return, the voluntary return, because they were in their migratory route, so they felt in their migratory, in their project,
and then they get stuck in,
and then they get stuck in the transit country. So it's where we from IOM, we are very big in terms of data management, analysis, and providing in close collaboration with our member states to manage data, because it's all about how do we collect and how do we master well the data to see what kind of appropriate solution we will provide at the country level, involving all the different stakeholders and in the top of all the actors, the member states.
In the coming months, schools, I mean, so you saw there my colleague Blezoga in the chat with the IOM Ghana country manager Fatu Diallo Ndiaye. To other stories now. In the coming months, schools in Osu are in for a positive transformation aimed at reducing air pollution in their surroundings and creating safer spaces for children to play. City engineers currently undergoing innovative training to rethink and reshape road construction methods are the forefront of this initiative. The ultimate goal is to strategically redesign these roads, minimizing exposure to harmful air pollutants and fostering environments that allow children and neighborhoods to thrive in safety and well-being. Beat reporter Michael Ashley has more in the following report.
Air pollution is the second biggest threat to health in Ghana. Exhaust fumes from the transport sector alone is responsible for almost half of Accra's particulate concentrations. The city of Accra is one of the most heavily polluted places in the country. The WHO estimates that more than 28,000 Ghanaians die prematurely every year as a result of air pollution. Children in urban schools often endure the adverse effects of vehicle fumes. Headmaster of Osu Salem School, Emmanuel Taki, knows this very well.
Because the school, because it's not walled, you always find children crossing to get food and all those things. So one, the safety of the children are priority as a educator. So the school is very close to the road, and sometimes or usually you find road cars parking in the school and around the school area.
For stakeholders, their interest is to move from pollution to solution.
I think for now, let's look at these 6 strategies and see which one that we can implement here.
City engineers and technocrats pulled from some of the municipal assemblies in the streets of Accra as members of a workshop organized by Clean Air Fund and Global Designing Cities Initiative. The goal is to assist engineers in discovering innovative approaches to prioritize pedestrian mobility and eliminate pollution within communities. In some countries, vehicle lanes have been repurposed to bicycle lanes. Vehicles in other countries are banned from using certain roads at certain times. In Ghana, 2 schools from Osu will benefit from the initiative. Sponsors of the initiative, Clean Air Fund, believes the project will allow children to play safely in their schools and neighborhoods. Victoria Osu-Teria is an analyst with Clean Air Fund.
On this project, we are looking at designing or redesigning streets into child's play within the Korle-Klottey municipality. In the course of that, we'll be measuring air quality concentration levels. So that will be done before the start of the project, the designing itself, during the designing, and then post the designing. So we'll be able to identify pollution hotspots levels.
Program manager of GDCI, Hayreton, explained how this will be done.
Do is start with a pilot project, select one school, and see if we can create a safe space for kids to play, removed from air pollution, and then showing the results so that we can implement these kind of projects in different parts of the municipality as well.
So how soon can we see any of those projects come to life?
In the next months, we'll be doing some design projects, so we'll be sharing that with the community as well.
However, Heriton is expecting some challenges along the way.
There are areas in the neighborhood where there is no sidewalk space and people are forced to walk on the roadbed. We think this creates a road safety risk in addition to air quality issues. So I think there will be some challenges with reallocating that space, how we can take that space and use it for other uses.
Municipal Chief Executive of Korle Klottey Municipality, Samuel Ni Ajay Teria, pledged to support the initiative to its conclusion.
We can remove lanes at this stage. At least the parking of the vehicles next to the school is something that we all have to come together and engage the restaurant and the nearby offices. That is not acceptable. The alternative will be maybe you take a Uber and drop and then go in, or use public transport or any other public transport. That will be the alternative for now.
Maybe in the near future, they hope that these areas can be filled with more people than vehicles that pollute all day. Well, all the best to them. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
This story was a collaboration with New Narratives. Funding was provided by the Clean Air Fund. The funder had no say in the content of the story.
Well, the story was a collaboration with New Narratives. Funding was provided by the Clean Air Fund, and the funder had no say in the content of the story. Now let's take you to Takoradi, where the Sekedi Takoradi and Joy News at the Sekedi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly and Joy News Operation Clean Your Surroundings campaign, which started a month ago with sensitization and cautioning, will start prosecuting and arresting people found to be living in insanitary conditions. The campaign seeks to make the Twin City the cleanest metropolis in the Western region. Correspondent Natalia Konsa joined the team at Escado Sub-Metro and has come through with this report.
Today's operation began from the Kojokrom Terminal Station, which had filled all over. Metro Environmental Health Officer Abdul Hudu Karim and his team were disappointed at the station masters. Here, just like the two sub-metros we have visited, Mr. Hudu and his team cautioned them. From there, the team visited two cold stores, and just like expected by the team, the insanitary conditions were enormous.
Or a big cold store, or there onya the beer or sanchi, the beer over Jawan, the beer over change. Our damn dresses, or there onya the beer or Bajma, no, I can't see some one who. Ninya ode wanya eh dama a cold store na mra no onya papa and the way I worry no onya papa atasa tintan on yi tintan wa hwe he nyina tintan then today my makan on hwe changing room my boys no na baby awodi dam boxes or the yano. One future baby, now one fangu. So better a partition waha. Now I am day. Now one cold stone waha. Yabba inside a young one inside. Now
The unannounced visit to inspect the sanitary condition of households and commercial facilities is part of efforts to make the Twin City clean. From there, the task force went to a local eatery. Over there, the place was in a total mess. Flies all over, dirty cooking and serving areas. The gutter which the facility sits was filled with refuse. Coupled with this is an expired medical report used by the operator. The unannounced visit took the task force to a hotel and a place of convenience here at the Escado Sub Metro. Metro Environmental Health Officer Abdul Karim Hudu, who led the task force, speaks on the nuisance found.
We are going to look for nuisances, that is abrofu nuisances that we are going to look for. When you go to a chop bar, the first chop bar or drinking bar, we are going to look for their medical certificate of health. That's what we are going to look for. The number of people who are there selling the food or selling the drinks. Whether they have it or they have done the screening, we'll look for it. If they don't have, we will either take spot fine of 100 Ghana or 200 Ghana. And then if they don't have, we'll prosecute them. We'll send them to court. That is an example. Number two, we'll look for the storeroom. We'll look if it is a chop bar, where they sold their items, where they change, the workers change. They don't have them. If they don't have washrooms, that is a urinal or a toilet. If they don't have them, the penalties are there that will charge them. These are few. We have a lot. We will go to a facility like the chop bar that we have described. They don't have a standard refuse container. They have not joined the door-to-door services that we are looking for them to join. So these are some of the things that we are going to look, and all of them have a higher penalty. If you go to court, from 100 penalty unit to 250 penalty unit, and 100 penalty units is around 1,000, 1,300, 1,400. That is what they are going to charge you. But we will first of all push you to pay a SWAT fine. If you don't have the SWAT fine, then we are going to court. That's what we are going to do.
The STMA has ended their sensitization and cautioning of residents and commercial facilities. Their next stop will be to prosecute and fine them. For Joy News in Athalia, Kwanza, Western Region.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with Showbiz. Just stay. Okay, welcome back. Let's do Showbiz now. And Becky Bex, the only boy guy in the house for now, is here. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. You have to kill me with those American slangs, yeah.
No, not an accent today. We'll do something else today. Yesterday, where were you? You were at the UPSC.
Yes.
Covering the
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's, his vision for Ghana.
And well, when he was outlining those visions, the creative arts industry got their part. And so he did mention some incentives and streaming platforms and e-visa for the industry. And for those of you who don't know what he said, here you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will also have a major focus on policies, tax, and other incentives to increase private and public investment in tourism, the creative arts, and sports. More jobs creation. We will build on the year of return, beyond the return, and December in Ghana. We will also introduce initiatives such as digital streaming platforms for our artists and tax incentives to make tourism and creative arts a growth pole. Tax incentives will also be provided for film producers and musicians. To boost tourism and job creation, my government will implement an e-visa policy for all international visitors to Ghana to enable visas to be obtained in minutes, subject to security and criminal checks. Ladies and gentlemen,
well, that's it for the creative arts. We've had industry players reacting to what Dr. Bawumia said. And I spoke to my colleague, Kwame Dazi, and he's been reacting to the three important things that he mentioned in his vision for the creative arts industry. Let's stay more on some creative arts related stories and talk about the mobile awards which happened at the weekend. And guess what, Brace? Our very own musicians, King Promise and Camido, they thrilled, all the audience in the Mobile Awards in the UK, and it was an amazing performance between those two, and I'm bringing it all to you here on Prime. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
But yeah, I would love it if you sing that song on me.
Okay, please. Yeah. I don't have the voice. I don't act like I have the voice.
Really?
I don't sing on this channel. I've never done that before. But let's talk about, we are still in the month of love. And the last time I brought you Titanic, it's a love classic. For those of you who are yet to fall in love, I'm recommending a movie for you that can make you fall in love. So we're dealing with all the classics this month, falling in love all together. So the idea this month is to make you fall in love. So you'll be, getting more of these recommendations from the Prime evening team.
With an acting.
I'm not acting.
No, anyway. Well, so that's from Becky there. But,
why are you picking on me?
No, I'm not. I'm only complimenting you, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Thank you for watching the news. Remember to brush your teeth day and night with Pepsodent.
Because every smile matters.
Yeah, like your smile, huh? All right, thanks for being with us. Up next is Prime Business with Emma Davis. Good evening.